There's a lot of buzz in the craft world about 24-inch vinyl cutting machines. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've seen me using the Siser Romeo machine for a while now. In addition to the Romeo, which is their 24-inch cutter, Siser also recently released a 12-inch cutting machine called Juliet. If you were in the market for a wide format vinyl cutter, you might be wondering what features Siser has packed into this machine. Hey, it's Jennifer with Pigskins and Pigtails. On my channel, I teach crafters how to screen print using a vinyl cutter. I've shared this process for years using all of the Cricut machines, which I love. Recently, Siser came out with their brand of machines, and I wanted to share why I added their machines to my craft room. In this video, I'm going to share my top 5 favorite features of the Siser cutting machines. Keep in mind that I'm a screen printer, so the majority of my projects are cutting adhesive or iron-on vinyl. If you haven't seen how I screen print with vinyl, be sure to watch my beginner video linked above. There's so many great features to this machine, and your favorites may be a little different from mine, but here are my top 5. When working on projects, I typically have 4 or 5 projects to cut at one time. The feature that has saved me the most amount of time is being able to cut right off the roll. This saves me time from measuring and cutting down my vinyl to fit a mat. It also saves materials because I can arrange my projects to get the most out of my material. Once I have all of my projects set up, it's just a matter of clicking Send to Cutter on my computer, and my vinyl just keeps feeding through the machine. This machine cuts from the bottom left corner, so when I have a roll loaded on the back of the machine and you start to cut, it will pull the vinyl through as needed. All of my designs come out on one big sheet with very little waste. Because you can adjust the rollers on these machines, you can cut a variety of material sizes. You can do as wide as 25.5 inches on the Romeo, or cut 15-inch rolls, or even 12 by 12 sheets, and anything in between, all without needing a mat. I also save all of my scrap pieces, so when I have a smaller project, you can even load odd-sized scraps. So not only can you use your own preferred brand of vinyl, you can easily cut it without a mat, and with great detail. Check out how small this design is and how easily it weeds. Since these machines cut on any brand of vinyl, one of the features I love is the ability to do a small test cut. This will save your materials when you're using a new brand or a different type. From the control panel, you can click Test Cut, and it will create a test cut on your material. It cuts this little t-shirt inside a box that you can weed. If it didn't cut all the way through, just adjust your pressure settings and try another test cut. Once you have dialed in the best pressure settings for your materials, you can save this as a favorite setting and label it in the control panel to make it easy to use again. I have found the test cut feature very helpful for print and cut or sticker projects. I can position the test cut in one of the open areas of my page and test it to make sure that it's going to cut through the printable vinyl or whatever material I'm using. And when it cuts the project, I know it's going to peel off correctly. I've been surprised at how efficient my process has become with these machines. In addition to saving time by not having to load my material on a mat, I love how quickly this one goes from clicking Send to Cutter in the software to actually cutting on the machine. I have my roll loaded, so when I want to cut, I just send the design and it starts cutting. This machine connects over Wi-Fi, which I've found means less interruption in the pairing between my computer and the machine. Plus, this machine itself cuts so fast. When I do have a paper project, I can use any brand or size mat to hold the paper or cardstock in place as it cuts through. And notice you still get that fast cutting speed even with a mat. As a Cricut Design Space user for many years, learning a brand new software did take me some time. There are 2 things in particular in Leonardo Design Studio software that make my process of cutting vinyl for screen printing much easier. From the menu, you can add a weeding box around each of your designs. Or even faster, there's a keyboard shortcut. This box makes it easier to weed, but it's also handy for lining up my design on my screen printing frame. The other thing I find extremely helpful is being able to set my material size, then freely move the designs around within this space. It's not jumping to additional mats or preventing me from lining them up right along the edge of my material. This way, I can organize them to minimize any waste and get the most out of my materials. If you are considering the Siser Romeo or Juliet, here are a few last details that might be helpful to know. If you're using a roll of vinyl, I have about 8 inches of clearance space between the back of my machine and the wall. The Romeo is 36.5 inches wide. I have mine on 2 IKEA Alex drawers with plenty of room to spare. I love using these drawers because I can store my sheets and scrap vinyl in the drawers. If you're tight on space, the Siser Juliet is a great choice at 24 inches wide. It fits nicely on this cart from Michaels. All of the features I talked about in the video apply to the Juliet, but with a 13.5 inch wide cutting area. The Romeo currently retails for $6.99, which is an amazing price for the pro level features packed into this cutter. The Juliet retails for $4.99 at the time of filming this. Keep in mind these prices may change over time. Siser has really taken some pro-level features from industrial plotters and delivered that in a machine for crafters and home use at a price that is much lower than industrial plotters. I know the Siser team is still working up some new features and tools that will be launched for these machines, so I'm excited to see my list of favorite features continue to grow. If there are any videos you would like to see me make next with the Siser cutting machines, comment below and let me know what you'd like to see. If you're curious about using vinyl cutters for screen printing, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials and project ideas.